My name is Ryan Stanley. I'm from Juneau, Alaska, where I work at Alaska's only full-service educational service agency. My team are IT and help desk tech people.
Cool.
And so we serve rural, mostly, schools all around the state, mostly via distance, but also travel out to a lot of the sites as well.
That's awesome.
I would imagine via distance a lot.
Yes. Yes.
So is there planes involved?
Yes.
See, I figured
There are
so.
airplanes
He's
involved.
been waiting for that all day. He wants to find
Sometimes-
somebody who's using airplanes to help deliver services.
I know it's Alaska because I know that a lot of that's just how you get around in Alaska.
Yeah.
There's a lot of aircraft in Alaska.
Absolutely. Well, Juneau has, that's the only way you can get to
Right,
from Juneau,
right.
other than by our
And I guess
wonderful...
most of the rural cities and towns, they have their own airports because that's the way they get most of their.
Yeah, everything has
everything
a-
comes in by it.
airstrip.
Yeah.
Airport is
Yeah, a
maybe
strip,
stripping
yeah.
it for some of our places.
Okay, so I digress. So I just think that's cool. That's just a neat way to get out to do our job.
Yeah.
But distance learning makes a big difference. So there's a great question. We'll just jump into it. Fiber optics. What's the network like in Alaska? Since we're talking IT, we get into our field here even more. So how are you connected? Have you got a lot of radio waves? Are you doing
We
radio
have a ton of
antennas?
microwave. In Southeast, where I'm based, lots of microwave.
Yep.
This the inside passage, tons of island type environments. Out in Western Alaska, our biggest ISP in the state just finished building out a fiber network, which is a network of microwave towers, and they're in the process of closing the loop on that. So you look at a map and you've started Anchorage, and you kind of just go in a big loop out west, and then I think they're up to Galena or something, and so there's a couple other initiatives in the works to quote unquote wire up those communities out.
Sure. Yeah, that would be a whole
Get 'em
interesting
connected.
show. Yeah, talking about just knowing. So how digging in the ground if you were going to put fiber in the ground? I know it's a,
Now you don't do it.
you don't do it, do you?
No, it's all microwave.
It's too frozen.
I mean, they'll do microwave, but just line of sight microwave.
Yeah.
And then
then
once it
fiber
gets
out
to
from
the
there.
town, then and usually what happens is, and I'm not sure exactly how they funded it, but they'll generally be able to do it if there's an anchor customer or two in these communities, the school or the health clinics and whatnot.
Sure.
And then they will run. They either work to kind of fiber the grid, or they'll just run fiber from their point of presence directly to those anchored places.
Yeah.
See, I was wondering about that. That's a really interesting, but that's a whole different IT job than here in this
Yes.
part of the country.
Yes.
We have to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's very, even the the sites that upgraded from satellite to microwave, the cost didn't really change a whole lot. And the performance of the bandwidth got a little bit better, but we're talking about schools that have 5 megabits.
Yeah.
Like I have a school that upgraded, a school district that has 10 students, the whole district has 10 students. They upgraded from 512K
Yeah.
to 1 megabit. So they doubled their bandwidth.
Yeah.
Boy, was that amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible!"
It's just a different world.
It is.
And I deal a lot with the ramifications of, guys like me who come to conferences and get sold on really cool things and bring them back. And about 99% of the solutions developed for the modern cloud-based world are just not developed for the high latency satellite or
Yeah,
even
right.
microwave world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't participate in a lot of the things that, frankly, a lot of us take for granted.
You have to do it more carefully, in where I live, we have fantastic internet in Juneau, and so what's for dinner? Well, let's type the recipe, type the ingredients into, something, or what's this or what's that, or helping with homework or this or that. You're constantly doing Googles on your phone and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, and you remember what it was like back when you had a
trust me.
dial-up modem. You'd open 8 tabs in your browser or whatever, and while they're loading, you're reading one.
Yes.
I ran an entire district of 4,000 students off of a 56K line.
Yeah.
So I remember the
Yes.
good old days.
It's
Well,
just-
and the truth is, even in the contiguous 48 states, we're in Arkansas, and I live in a small town, and then I actually don't even live in the small town. I live outside the small town. Jeff was at my place like for the first time ever the other day, and he was like, I couldn't find this again if I wanted to. And we're out, and it's, the highest bandwidth I get is 1.5 megs. That's it. That's it. That's what I get because we're out there. And it's one of those things where I'm even blessed to get that because it wasn't so many years ago that I was doing the dial-up thing. So it really is a whole different way of thinking of things. So
let's jump back into here. I saw that you got to stand up. Tell us about was that you?
Right.
So now, what's your new role with AESA and what's going to happen here?
So AESA has a program called Executives in Residence where. So I'm in this program, and I've gotten to come to all the conferences this year.
Yeah.
And then in the spring, I'm going to go to another ESA somewhere in the country to learn from them and to help myself learn some more leadership skills, but also selfishly on behalf of my organization, I want to find somewhere that's kind of faced the challenges that we're facing and has gone through them, so I can steal all their good ideas.
That makes
and that's what this conference is all about. I mean, and not just this conference, frankly. That's what AESA is all about. I mean, it really is. When you boil away all when you boil away all the stuff and you get down to it, really that's what it's all about. Sharing all the ideas and getting what you can out of it and figuring out how you can implement that back at your place. And that's how it is for everybody. So, we don't have like this one person who's just pilfering everything. No, because somebody's pilfering the stuff from you. So we're all learning from each other. We're all stealing from each other. We're all
it's a good thing that copyright doesn't apply. The copyright laws don't apply here, so we can.
I can understand that we're spoiled where I'm from. 4 years ago, we started with 3,000 iPads, one-to-one.
Right.
Bandwidth is not an issue for us.
Sure.
And one of the things we found out about was that that was a Lamborghini, and all we needed was a 66 Chevy. And so we're now rolling into some Chromebooks. We still use a lot of Macs, and we still use a lot of iPads. But for what we need to get done and cost effectiveness and all that good stuff, the Chromebook came into play. And we like to come here and share those kind of things. Now, this isn't a place for me to share that with. These are service agencies, but it kind of is, I guess. We did a lot of stuff, and interestingly enough, when we first started, we had 11 megs for the entire district, and no fiber optic, man. So we were using VPN connections over the internet to keep all campus sites up, and so a lot of work went in to make that happen, which that's kind of what you would have to do, and in fact, I'd love to show you that sometime, VPNing across microwave, just to keep Active Directory syncing and things like that. So we had to pioneer that 10 years ago because we didn't have, but that's the kind of stuff that happens at this place. I wish there was a more, we have a thing in Arkansas now called the Arkansas Conference of Technology, and it's just tech coordinators. There's no teachers, there's no administrators. It's just all of us getting together and talking about, hey, so what did you get your hands dirty doing this year? Because you get lost in these conferences down to the nitty gritty of what we do with more of pedagogy and that kind of thing. But it all plays in because we're the first line of defense. Hey, we want to run this. What do we do? Gosh, I can only guess what it's like for you to come here and see this stuff and go, okay, well, we can't do that because we don't have the bandwidth to make that kind of thing happen. But it's coming.
We certainly
one day.
We certainly have to kind of pick and choose the things that we want to implement, and a lot of I think this is a universal thing, but a lot of the organizations that I work with, they might just kind of say yes generally to technology without necessarily knowing what the what is, and in all of our smaller organizations. One of the things I do in addition to the IT side of things is I kind of do these audits of organizations, not just schools, but some municipalities, nonprofits, where I help them analyze their human systems and their tech systems, and figure out how to kind of modernize that, because everything seems like it's technology, or what is the saying, right? Like, technology is everything that was invented after you were born. I think that's a Jason Oler quote. or it's just everything you don't know how to deal with, and so we have an aging workforce, and they don't know how to deal with a lot of this stuff, and so they're handing it off. And you have these poor tech people who have to learn everything. And
Right.
in some of our small towns, you have they're lucky if they can afford a single tech person, but
Right.
the solutions for a 200 student school district are going to be basically the same solutions for a 2,000 or 20,000. So whether it's Active Directory or whether it's email or whatnot,
Right.
it doesn't matter the size necessarily. You still have to master it, and to find an individual who can master everything from email to managing the wireless to the LAN to all that stuff.
I
Is
said that's
very
actually
difficult.
harder for those schools because even for us trying to find a jack of all trades,
Right.
a tech jack that we can afford because we can't afford that many.
Yes.
It's hard even for us in the center of the country.
Yeah.
For you guys, for a town that has 200 kids, that's remote, and hey, you want to go out here? We're going to pay you 40, maybe, and we need you to do everything.
Yeah.
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 And that's, and then you wind up getting someone that possibly is, set in their ways, like we were talking the other
Well,
day.
sure.
Like this is, well, I'm not going to do this and this. You look for those young guns, and the young guns are the ones, but they also have to have someone there that can say, hey, let me be your mentor. Let me get you down
Right.
the right road.
Well, and I would venture, and by all means, you're in the situation, so by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. But one of the things that we see, especially in smaller districts, is they don't hire a tech person to do the tech stuff. They find the person who knows the word computer, or they can spell technology, or whatever, and that becomes the de facto tech person.
Yeah.
So now you have someone who that's not their background, and yet now they're dealing with, making sure that the microwave connection is up, and they're like, I thought the microwave was a thing in my kitchen.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's-
Well, we have a lot of districts that will trade, and I sometimes, even though it's kind of my business, I feel like sometimes it's second best, but they'll trade a single individual, or they'll lose a single individual to retirement or whatnot, and in exchange they'll go with something like my team, who can provide excellent at-distance support and experts in a variety of things.
Sure.
And you get the whole team for less than you pay an
Yes.
individual.
Yes.
But then we come out once a month or once every
Right,
other
right.
month or something like that, or even fewer. And a lot of our districts are declining enrollment, declining revenue, and so
Sure.
they're asking us, how can we do more with less? And fortunately, especially on the Macs, we've been able to do some, I think is amazing, some of the stuff that we can do via distance, in bulk, managing apps and settings and all that stuff. And in low bandwidth environments, using the command line is just a great thing.
Yeah.
So,
See, and that's awesome where, you have to take those creative approaches to solving that, that
Yeah.
type of problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is sort of a bird walk moment here, but I had a friend of mine who used to work on the pipeline up in Prudhoe
Uh-huh.
Bay. So I don't know if that's even. I have no idea what's up there. Is there is there a school up there or anything
Oh,
in
yeah.
Prudhoe Bay? Is there some, I mean, that's way north.
yes. Well, it's, there's only one native Alaskan reservation in all of Alaska. And you have this just really sad sort of history where in the early 50s, students were forcibly boarded. I mean, the Bureau of Indian Affairs ran schools, so there were federal schools, and a lot of them were kind of schools that were installed in communities that kind of became the hub of the community. And then they forcibly boarded students and punished them for speaking their native language. And you have you have this kind of trauma that went through an entire generation, and in some cases where stories don't get passed down because of the language issues. And Alaska has horrible suicide rates and rates of abuse and rates of addiction, and I think probably top of the country as far as some of those statistics. So the prospect of like running a school, especially a standards-based school, and the standards are defined by someone and this is in a community where people are still relying on subsistence to make it through the winter and all that.
Right.
It makes things very interesting. And so
Yeah.
the question of how do we make the school be an outgrowth of the community rather than this sort of separate thing that's installed there. And
Right.
unfortunately, we see a lot of transient positions, leadership and teachers who will, they'll be there for a year or two. And so a lot of our schools, they could turn over almost all their staff, and through our agency, and that's what a lot of educational service agencies do. They can keep up and running. Our agency, CERC, since we're full service, we have staff who do special ed. We have staff who do capital improvement, facilities management. We can do their federal grants for them. We do all IT, all that kind of stuff. And but most of what my team does, and the way we phrase it, is like figure out what you need that we can do so that we can free up the people on your end to do the stuff the really important stuff, right? Build the relationships and whatnot.
Right.
So if the maintenance guy or whomever has any aptitude whatsoever, then we're really eager to help them build capacity. And we write so much documentation and so many how-to steps, and we walk people through stuff on the phone and. Okay, pull up this GDoc and follow the bullets and let us know what step you're on, and a lot of instant message kind of make it work thing.
Yeah. Wow, that's really, it's amazing, and I can't imagine how daunting the task is. But the fact that you're offering those services to those schools and providing really like all the different types of services that you're providing to the schools, like you said, that really ultimately you're able to offload some of the things that otherwise they would be completely bogged down with, and so they can, I had no idea what the history was, so in 50 years, that's not all that long ago. No. So I'm sure there's still a lot of the feelings that are all tied to that, and so you guys definitely have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
So we want to keep you the whole time, and
I don't know what time it is.
It's already 1:25,
almost 1:30.
Oh, well, I've got 4 minutes then.
So anything you want to share with us before you go?
Well, I just, that conversation is really interesting to me, and one of the neat things about the environment that has forced my team to become extremely creative and come up with what I think are really, really cool solutions. And so that's, I think, kind of the neat side of it is that we have sort of forged a set of solutions that are very kind of specific to that environment.
Yeah.
But of course they could apply everywhere.
Yeah.
Like using Monkey for managing.
Yeah. Well, Monkey,
Max.
and I want to reach out to you, Jonesboro, Arkansas Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are the Monkey gurus of Central United States. Really sharp, and the nicest cats you'd ever met. And they have built so much that they'll just give you.
Oh, good.
That way you guys can modify like you need to. I was going to say, we use Jamf actually, but it's expensive, but we have a lot of devices. So But now, I'll tell you, Jonesboro has just as many or more than we do, and they've modified Monkey, and we're always looking for free. This is I'm paid for it, so I can keep working. But I want to throw that out, and I'll be in touch with you, and I'll send you as much as I have.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But I'll get you in touch with those guys.
Good.
And that would be a really, that would be a fun partnership from Alaska to Jonesboro, Arkansas.
It would.
Yeah.
It would. We've kind of rolled out our own sort of Monkey network, and so districts will subscribe to our repository, and it's just a repository of all of the P lists, not to get too nerdy.
Yeah, right.
But so what's the message on the login window? What does the doc look like?
Yes.
All the settings and stuff.
Right.
We manage that through all those P lists, and then because we have low bandwidth, every Friday that repository does a sync, an rsync, out to all these sites, and it's a trickle. We set it to a very small amount of bandwidth, so sometimes if there's big updates like with Office and whatnot, it'll trickle over the weekend.
Yeah.
But then on Monday, teachers will get the option to click update